My friend, I know it, you know it, and most of all, Creative Assembly knows it. We all want Medieval 3 Total War. In my opinion, it's only a question of time really, but just because we want it, or because EA might be making it, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be as you imagine. And so, let's speculate, as the informed lovers and haters of the Total War series that we are depending on the day, on what Medieval 3 might look like based on Creative Assembly's past and present. And by the way, while I have you here, only 6% of you watching this video are subscribed to the channel. If you enjoy my content guys, it would just mean so much to me if you took the time to make a simple click and sub to the channel. It goes a long way in helping my content reach further, and hopefully also help you in knowing when there's new content to be enjoyed. I'd really appreciate it. Alright, Medieval 3. And for this video, Medieval 3's campaign. First of all, let's look at the facts. And please keep in mind, all of this is speculation, although there are a few things we can say for sure. Because before we can even talk about a Total War Medieval 3, we have to mention the possibility of a Medieval 2 remastered. But here's the thing, Creative Assembly did not themselves develop Rome Remastered. That job was made by Feral Interactive. By extension, it would be fair to assume that if we were to see a Medieval 2 remastered anytime soon, that too would be made by Feral, considering the long business collaboration between CA and Feral. But, and this is a big one, Feral has repeatedly stated that they are not working on Medieval 2 Remastered. At the same time, we don't know exactly what they're working on. Considering the expertise of Feral, however, particularly with what they did with opening Rome Remastered to the modders, could one possibly believe that Feral might instead actually be working on Medieval 3 itself? It is perhaps a long shot, but in a weird way, there is precedence for certain Total War games to be developed by outside studios. The most notable is none other than Medieval 2 itself, which was actually made by a short-lived Australian branch of CA oddly enough. Indeed, the newly created CA Sofia studio was responsible for Total War Troy, and albeit a smaller title, was quite large in scope for a smaller team. With help from other parts of CA, it's not unthinkable that Feral could be at least heading Medieval 3 development. Although, again, this is pure speculation. Either way, this is all to say that I personally believe a Medieval 3 is coming before any Medieval 2 remaster is on the table, as long as CA themselves are not heading the development of such a remaster, of course. Either way, Total War Medieval 3 is likely to be radically different from Medieval 2, not just because it's by now been almost 17 years since its initial release, but because of the changes in Total War games themselves. If one thing characterized Medieval 2, it was that pretty much every faction played mostly the same on the campaign map, save for the Crusader or Jihad mechanics. If the past 6 years of Total War is any indicator, I believe we'll see much more attention brought to making each faction of Medieval 3 much more unique, in the hopes of creating kingdoms that feel radically different from each other. We don't even need to look further than to the Warhammer series itself, or to a Total War Saga Troy, to see how the idea of unique faction mechanics has become a staple of the series by now. Let's for example take the Holy Roman Empire. In Medieval 2, it's a faction no different from any other, save from its faction colors, voice lines, names and units. It's basically the same faction as France, Poland, or even Denmark, which is obviously absurd to say the least, and part of this is also the fact that we have no mechanics that inherently differentiate factions, especially of the same religion, from each other. Now I believe in Medieval 3, if we once again take the Holy Roman Empire as an example, will feature systems that very much resemble those of the Empire in Warhammer 3, where it is a leader of sorts and is tasked with protecting and unifying the Empire once more and over time. Hopefully this would mean that our campaign map is heavily extended, meaning we have a ton of new historical factions and cities accounted for. In the same vein, I think France could be an example where we see something like an Agamemnon mechanic see the light of day once more. You see, back in history times, France was actually a highly decentralized kingdom, made up of a ton of dukedoms that were vassals to the King of France. In the same way as Agamemnon becomes more powerful the more vassals he has, France might have to rely on its vassals to remain powerful, and will further hopefully be able to annex these vassals when the time is right. In Iberia, perhaps we'll see something akin to the struggle for Iberia mechanic in Crusader Kings 3, where the Christian kingdoms and the Moors fight for cultural and religious domination of the peninsula. In Italy, it would be amazing to see the local struggle between various republics and the dominions of the Papal States, and in the same vein actually get mechanics for republics and a unique situation for the Papal States. And in the north, perhaps Norway would see some sort of struggle play out between those who want to strengthen the kingdom at home and those who wish to pursue claims and riches abroad, and perhaps even seek to win that famous Battle of Stamford Bridge. I'd absolutely love to see unique mechanics like these for every single faction, while also having an overarching mechanic for Christianity and Islam. I think these unique mechanics are extremely likely to happen, as they've been around for a while now, and it's a great and fairly simple way to make each faction feel special, and works regardless of historical or more fantastical origins. Perhaps the faction that lacked the most in Medieval 2 was ironically Byzantium, the empire that was the direct continuation of the Roman Empire, was there when the Middle Ages began, and ended only when the medieval era ended. In my opinion, Byzantium is owed a whole lot of mechanics in Medieval 3, especially as it relates to internal politics, religion as it relates to the contrast between itself, the Catholic Church, and even Islam in the East, and indeed, how the empire deals with Muslim and Seljuk incursions. It is in my opinion vital that Byzantium's struggles with the wars in the East be represented faithfully and as a major obstacle to its longevity, and therefore, that Byzantium, as the gateway to the East, might even have a say when the Crusades themselves begin, as it historically had a major role in starting them. As such, it's also vital that the Eastern factions be given attention to detail as well. Known in this era for being centers of the knowledge and innovation in health and mathematics, Muslim factions in both Iberia, Egypt, Syria, and even Mesopotamia should be given unique mechanics related to these aspects. This could, for example, mean that they're given a boost in technological research or have unique buildings. And speaking of technology, one thing I absolutely need to see in Medieval 3 is a revamp of how the tech tree works. I am so sick of having small percentage changes when unlocking new parts of the tree, as they rarely feel meaningful or important in the moment. I want to see a return to actually unlocking new units or buildings, that the tech tree somehow opens up new opportunities for development, or simply a new stage in a faction's path forward in history. I find that even though it was simple, the tech tree in Empire remains perhaps the best one, as you really feel the change brought on by each and every unlock. A massive feature I desperately want to see in Medieval 3 is that Creative Assembly takes the important step away from its old province system and into a system of cities actually growing organically, with, again, a system of smaller settlements dotting the countryside outside the major cities. One of the things that really makes some game feel so special is exactly when you feel that natural and more or less organic growth and development of your cities. And instead of having artificial bars meaning it's time to upgrade a city, I want a return to population numbers, a return to authenticity, and a UI that actually depicts farms and roads and churches the way they look, not in some abstract way. Total War has done this before with Empire and Napoleon and partly Shogun too, so it's not unprecedented. And with a title as big as Medieval 3, I think we can expect a major change up in how settlements work. I also want trade to be important again, to see our merchants and caravans make the map busier by the turn, so that this world actually feels lived in. Medieval 3 may come this very year, or it may be 5 years ahead of us. I hope it arrives sooner rather than later, as I'm personally itching more and more, day by day and hour by hour, for a new true historical Total War that can finally dethrone Medieval 2 and Attila as perhaps the greatest Total Wars ever made, especially when adjusted for time. If you're itching for a Medieval 3 as much as me, let me know in the comments, tell me what you think about my thoughts, and again, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what I do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!